All right, y'all. Listen, we back with another one about to revolutionize educational leaders. Y'all know who it is. It's Principal Rahh, the revolutionary principal, where we are here to connect socially conscious leaders to the emerging world of technology, Web3, AI, VR, AR. Y'all already know what it is, man. I got my good bro here, man. Come on, man. Black on black, and talk to the people, man.
Peace, peace, peace. Yeah, man. Jamal Thomas from Black on Black Education, aka the Renaissance Futurist, man. I've been paying so much attention to all of these various different tools. And when I heard my man Rod talking about it, I was like, a conversation definitely is in order. And I'm sure this won't be the last one either.
No. Let's listen. I know the people here. It's 2023. You got ChatGPT, you got crypto, you got, the creator economy, you got blockchain, you got so many, you know what I mean? But we're gonna dive into ChatGPT, man. And then actually, if y'all stay tuned, at the end of this, I'm gonna do a new feature. I'm gonna do ChatGPT $1 million companies where me and Jamaal, we gonna together use ChatGPT to build a startup company in which somebody could take and run off with it. Sound good? And we ain't talking about that. We just literally got
I say $1 billion company, but
$1 million.
we can start.
All right, let's get it. Let's get it. So listen, man, I don't waste no time. We're gonna jump straight into it, bro. Like as we go into it, I'm gonna show some other tools that's just really crazy. But hey, let me know. I always ask people, man, when did you hear about ChatGPT, and what was your first thoughts when you experienced it?
Yeah. I guess it's because I look up artificial intelligence and stuff. It just came up on my Google News, and this amazing new chatbot. And we've kind of heard before amazing new chatbots, and they weren't that amazing. And this was the first time I jumped into it, and I don't remember the first thing I put, but one of the first things I read was they they said put in a instructions for how to remove a peanut butter sandwich from a VCR, but write it in Bible prose. And there's people who won't say that it was blasphemous or whatever, but it just showed the power of the tool. It used this and thou and art thou, and it was just done so incredibly, and it made me jump in and start to play with it. And I got probably 300-400 entries, what I mean, at this point, on a variety of different stuff. I'm using it to not necessarily to I haven't let it give comments for me or anything to that effect, but it gives me ideas for comments where I go in and I take it and I put my own flavor on it because I got my own writing, and I have also taken thhere that I've written, put it in there and say, how would you make this better? And I'm just like, damn, I got me a whole free editor. You know what I mean? Right here. So this has been an amazing tool so far.
Man, listen, I tell people all the time that I'm introducing just the world of technology too. I even tweeted it. I said, we have to stop looking at tech as a tool that will discharge you. Rather, look at it as a tool that will supercharge you, right?
I like it.
In order for it to supercharge you, you have to have something for it to charge. You know what I'm saying? You can't just be empty. You got to have a creative. You have to understand an industry. You have to understand your North Star so you can then develop the skill to prompt it so it can give you the results you want. If you don't know how to prompt it, then you just got an empty tool. It's like I gave you a bottle opener and you don't even know how to open up the bottle because you just don't even know it's a bottle opener,
So, all your results they'll be generic. They'll be like everybody else's. If you put artful questions in, it provides artful responses. I'll challenge you a little bit on not fighting the tech. It's coming with or without us. But we do need to be careful with some of the dangerous pieces as well, which is all the more reason why we need more people to learn about it, people to discuss
explain
it.
The dangerous pieces. When you say dangerous, explain it. What is
so? I mean, this is specific to our conversation is more specific to educators. It's a broader conversation on artificial intelligence in general. In that. Because these are language models. It's combing the internet to pull data. And so if there's racism on the internet, there's going to be racism in the chat bot. Now, OpenAI has done a fairly good job, as I can tell so far, about making sure that some of that stuff gets scrubbed, and they've been responsive to people's. But then I think it's also dangerous with I don't know where the line is, where you get the full balance, because there's other people now saying that, the same way people are complaining about Twitter and folks being too much censorship, the people who are writing the fixes to the algorithm, a lot of those people they're one side of the political aisle, they're one particular perspective.
So it's the coded bias. This is what's important around technology. In anything, first off, human beings, we are good and there's evil, right? Like, blockchain technology is a technology. What happened with FTX was a human being, right? When you get sophisticated technology, you unfortunately, you get sophisticated criminals, right? When you get sophisticated tech, you get those who are more sophisticated with doing evil things. Now, there is some alarming things around tech and all that, but then you go to the coded bias for those who have intent. Because remember, you're still talking about someone humanly creating something with the intent, or they don't have the social consciousness to be able to create a humane-oriented type of platform or art or type of language model or type of artificial intelligence that is humane. At the root, to me, is still a human problem. Now, yes, tech, the reality is there's going to be a lot of jobs lost, a lot of careers wiped out, but there are going to be new careers that pop up. Being a prompt engineer 100%. Is one of them. Being able to understand to be an AI coordinator is one of them. Being able to understand the gigs that's needed for AI and for these other tech tools to close the digital, what I was just on with my homegirl, Jihan, she talks about the digital transformation gap. That's what we need to make sure. So let's dive into it, man, though. Let's look into what we're going to be diving into today, man. So I wanted to really talk, and you can tell me, I wanted to talk to people about, again, with educators, entrepreneurs, or edupreneurs, how can they leverage ChatGPT in their classroom, how leaders can leverage it. That's been my mission, is to show them how it's leveling the playing field.
I think the first piece that's important for people to notice is that this is not it. Like this is not, we're not finished. You know what I'm saying? The ChatGPT is still, while artificial intelligence has been out in some capacity for a long time, we're still kind of in its infancy. So the fact that it's as powerful as it is in its infancy is like, whoa, what's going on? This is 3.5. They talk about 4.0 is going to have 1 million times more data. I can't even wrap my mind around what that means. Like I don't understand that. But what we do need to make sure that we understand is that in terms of, this is going to be an operating system, essentially. Like you're not going to necessarily have to type in the way that we're typing things in now. You'll communicate it the way you communicate with Siri, the way you communicate with Alexa. People will be able to sit on both sides of it. So if here's the AI, here's a student, here's a teacher. On the first day of class, teacher has created something, maybe in conjunction with the AI, where they've asked a set of specific questions. Those questions allow students start to answer, make the teacher understand, oh snap, that's what this kid is curious about. These are the things that this kid wants to change in their community. How about I put them in a group? This particular kid is good at this. This particular kid is good at this. We're going to have them work together on these things. And so now, instead of just the way that we currently operate education, where all first graders lock, stock, and barrel, we're doing this in January because we said so, and we've been doing this in January for 50 years. Like, that gets stopped. You start to personalize things, and students start to lean in instead of sitting back and crossing their arms, because we're engaging with them on things that they are actually interested in. It opens up a new world of possibilities that it's Like anybody who is doing any type of shaking of their head, no, or oh, but this and oh, but that, it's people did the same thing with fire. You know what I'm saying? You know, fire was just a tool. And fire, you know, you could do cooking and you can light up the night, or you could burn down the village. You know what I'm saying? But we didn't stop cooking and lighting up the night because you could burn down the village. Like we have to get on top of this, so that our kids are not just the creators, or creating with it, but they're creating some of these models, that ultimately will be a part of you know, developing our communities.
Yeah, no, man, you just said a lot, a wealth of just knowledge there. Like some of the things that you said, I think people need to really understand that AI has been around for a very long time.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like from you know, if you look at gaming and you look at, you know, going back to Atari and going back to first robots to speak and all the AI has been around for a long time. ChatGPT is probably at, well, not probably, is the, as of right now, the pinnacle of the evolution of artificial intelligence or language model, right? Like language model. So when we think about, and I always compare it because the world of tech and blockchain and crypto, people will say, oh, it's the end. Listen, this is, if you think Chat GPT is its infancy stage, like when we know that it's been decades and decades of evolutionary tech that has been happening with, from Siri when it first came out to where Alexa is now, to being able to turn off your lights. When you say, Alexa, turn off the light, like you got to think that these are evolutionary blocks. So when we think about the world of tech and emerging technology, if you look at this now, this is the pinnacle from one end, but it's also the beginning of this whole new digital revolution. I tell people all the time, Jamaal, like, oh, between when AI, VR, and AR, and blockchain and crypto, those three pillars, when they meet, oh,
they're meeting. They're
no,
meeting.
no. What I'm saying, I'm saying is at scale. At scale, that's going, when it meets at scale, and if we're not in part of it, we're going to be addressing what you're talking about more and more when it comes to the coded bias, the explicit racism, all these different factors. If we're not fighting now to be not only people that use the tech, but those who build with the tech or build new tech, is going to continue to be a problem.
Facts, and you can't fight what you don't understand. Like you can't fight it if you don't understand it. But that convergence is tight. Like inside of Horizon World, I don't actually, I shouldn't say that is there, but I know that it's being worked on. Where everybody, it won't be that everybody that you interact with inside of a virtual world is an actual person. It could be a virtual teacher inside of there. That's a specific model set up for social studies or some level of interdisciplinary learning, where, you know, it gets handed off to each teacher in these virtual worlds. So there's so much, man.
So yeah, man. So listen, I know we've been going. I want to show the people how powerful this stuff is, and maybe this is just things that people haven't thought about, right? I want everybody to know that ChatGPT language model can help improve student test scores, help improve language acquisition, can help improve reading scores, can help improve mathematical and arithmetic scores, especially if you are using platforms like iReady or specifically NWEA map scores. I want to show how ChatGPT can integrate with RIT scores, which is the score in which is generated when kids take their reading fluency exam and their screener. So example is, if you know the kid's RIT score, you simply put in, let's just say, for example, raw, I say, create a reading plan for students in a 4th grade class with a RIT NWEA. NWEA RIT score of 130, right? And I haven't even misspelled it. Here's a suggested reading plan for students. Boom, it's generating this, right? So, and it's tied to the RIT score of a 130. If you know NWEA RIT score in the profile, you know 130 is far below basic, or they're developing, right? So it gives you some suggestions, right? So from there, this is what's important. Once you generate that prompt, Jamaal, you already got some suggestions, which already helps a teacher with their thought for intervention, right? So then you're like, okay, I got this. You can sit here and say, set a goal for student work towards this. You can say all that. You can say, create a lesson that will improve their reading score that's connected to Common Core standards.
And while it's looking for it this time, I'm not sure why on yours, like on mine, like it doesn't keep all of the chats or all
Yeah,
of
it does.
the,
It does. I cleared the conversations earlier. That's why.
Oh, okay. So well, let's say you keep it, and you have it for a specific child, and you get, all of this. When you sit down with that specific child, you can ask them, what would you like your lesson to be about?
Easy.
Would you like your lesson to be about ancient Egypt? Would you like your lesson to be about this? And it's now it starts to take a student's voice into consideration in that lesson plan that we're producing. And once again, we're personalizing things for that child, which, as far as I understand, the things that are personal to me are the things that get my brain, going. That's how I remember stuff. Most of the stuff that I learned in school, I didn't remember it like the next day because I didn't care.
Yeah.
Do it in a way where the students actually going to care about it. And I don't understand how people don't see the power. I don't understand.
Because it's a lot of people that see the wrong in ChatGPT are a lot of educators who are being indoctrinated to the traditional education philosophy and a traditional education system. You see the creatives, more teachers who are creative see the power in this. More teachers who maybe have an entrepreneurial spirit see the power in this. More teachers who have not been indoctrinated see the power in this. But once it's our job to sit here and we have to be able to show practical strategies to use it. For example, right? You can literally, it saves over here to the left, it saves all the conversations. So if you wanted to, you can create your personalized instruction or your intervention, and it saves for you. You can have all your kids listed. You can say, amen. You can right here, amen's reading intervention plan, right? And it save it as a new chat. So now you already, once it happens, you have it saved as a new chat, and then you can start another chat, and then you can start multiple chats, which is essentially saving as your intervention plan for those students. But I want to say this, Jamaal, I think what's really important is what would you suggest is a way, and then I can give one, how a teacher should introduce ChatGPT to their kids?
So it's, I'm on my local school board. I introduced this to the board, to the superintendent. I'm not sure, what they've done with it, just yet, but it's my, on a school board where we're supposed to stay out of the specifics and stay at the policy level. But I'm going to push a little bit, and I'm going to try to communicate to see exactly what they're going to do. I think that first we got to get the teachers. First, we got to get them to not be, on the enemy side. We got to show them what the power of the tool is. And I've seen your last couple of videos, and I know that that's exactly what you're doing right now. And it's dope that it's you, because it comes from, you got, the award-winning educator. So you know what I'm saying, if it's just coming from, some rando, they're not going to take it the same way that they take it from you. But I think a teacher can sit down and do what I've done with my niece. My niece is 6 years old. And, I go in and I told her to write a story for my niece, Aaliyah. And and make the story about I don't remember what we did about rabbits. And then I asked her something that she wanted to be in it, and it was my turn. So we kept using the tool to add to the story to make the story better. And she's sitting there like lit up, and she texts me, can we do a story? Can we do a ChatGPT story? Because it was exciting to her. She didn't, and she doesn't even, at 6 years old, you don't know what you don't know. Like you don't know the amazingness of this, at 6 years old. You just know the computer's writing you, kind of a story. But the fact that it was able to write her something that was exciting enough that 3 or 4 days later she gives me a call and saying, let's do it again. I think teachers can kind of take to that. I go back to the personalization idea. Like if teachers are having one-on-ones with students, what do you want to learn about? How does it relate to and watch this thing, start to unfold, and then let the student, throw in some ideas. And I think if you get that type of excitement in the classroom, do it in front of the class, with a bunch of with a bunch of different students. Give everybody a chance. Write a collective story.
Yeah, no,
all of those things. I think kids excited.
I mean, really too. I am big on what you're saying. I'm big on, you probably hear my son in the background, so forgive me. But I'm big on what you're saying. I'm big on what a lot of people are saying. And I think for me personally, the biggest missing piece is like giving practical steps for people to actually onboard and introduce the power of the tool. Because most of us see the power of the tool, but we don't actually put it in a systems thinking way. So it could be something that is intentional and strategic. I do courses, I work with districts, schools, leaders, businesses, and organizations around how they can be part of the digital transformation through mainly the 4 E's. The first E is how do you put ChatGPT and you get people to explore with, right? Like it's explore, it's engage, it's explain, and then it's exhibit. Those are the 4 E's when you're dealing with the digital transformation. So the first thing we do is we explore with it. And you got to be intentional with the exploration. You have to do a prompt scavenger hunt with ChatGPT, where you tell kids just to have a conversation with it. Say, hey, what's up, ChatGPT? It's going to say, like, literally, let's go through it. Like this is what key, if I'm a teacher right now, I'm saying, hey, just say hi. You go say, hi, Chat GPT, right? And then, hello, how can I help you today? And then you start teaching kids similar to like we did with Alexa, ask it a prompt. Say, well, how was your day? How was your day? Like literally have a conversation, right? I don't experience days like this. So you get this like, oh, humans do. However, I'm always here to assist you. Boom, and set that. So what's your next prompt? And we want to get kids to start thinking, okay, can you help me, if I'm a kid, pass my Spanish class? Right? Right? Can you help me? I'd be happy to try. What do you need help with in your Spanish class? So this kid needs to know what are they working on in their Spanish class so they can get help on. Right? Well, I need help converting whatever. If I don't know, I can't get this thing to assist me, right? So I need help writing a story about myself in Spanish. Boom. Sure, here's some tips. So now you're seeing that prompted. So that's exploration, right? So then next, you want them to engage. So now if I'm a teacher, I want to then, they explored, now I'm going to give them the prompts. You remember sentence starters, right? You're like, oh, here's a sentence. So like in school in English, they'd be like, if you, there's kids that have a hard time starting sentences. Well, say, oh, you give them a transition word. Say, everybody say, I like apples because, oh, I like apples because they're red and they taste great. You finished the sentence. I gave you a sentence starter. So now you're going to give them prompt starters. So now if I'm a Spanish teacher, I'm saying, hey, ask it how to say, I like to dance in Spanish. say also, so say, hey, how do I say I like to dance in Spanish? This was prompted from the teacher. Boom. Oh, to say I like to dance, you can say me gusta bailar. Oh, okay. Right. Now, go ahead.
And now let me hit you real quick. And this relates to something that you put up with, I don't know whether you did it with Tome or which one you which one you did it with, because right now they're disparate systems. Again, at some point in a not too distant future, these things are going to work together. There'll be APIs. K-12 crypto is going to be taking in this information and able to feed it out in a different user interfaces. So what if it says "Me gusto bailar," and now that's a little kid dancing. You know what I'm saying? So now they get the visual associated with the words immediately. That's something. Just those two things. Me reading this versus me seeing somebody dance with some funny shoes on. Me getting that in my head. I'm using different modalities to learn already, and the ability of a person to do that for every single student, for every single thing that they said, that's damn near impossible. You know what I mean? They're not going to be able to do it. But using a tool like this that's a force multiplier, it's going to be very possible.
Force multiplier, man. That's what it is. So you got to think, going back to those 4 E's, right? So we had them explore, they engage. Now you got to explain. So what you just said, like, how do you, now you give them prompts where they have to explain their learning. So you then have the kids say, well, how would you get ChatGPT to help you explain what you learn in my class? Oh, help me explain to my Spanish teacher how I love to dance, right? Sure, here's a possible way to explain to your Spanish teacher, and it gave it to me in Spanish, right? Now, if I'm a teacher, I will say, well, how do you know that is correct?
Right.
How do you validate? The key now are 3 critical skills. We want kids to be able to develop how to prompt AI and tech tools, but then we must teach them in a socially conscious way to validate what they were helped with. And see, the problem is it's not ChatGPT. The problem is we have to now fully teach what is validating me. How does a kid validate their own learning? That's where those who are creative and teachers own the space, because that's the essential root of learning is, how can I validate my learning? Right? How can I take ownership of my learning? So now validate, it gives me the translation. So now you can sit here and say, we're going to bypass that because we don't got enough time. That's another podcast for another date. But I would say, go ahead.
Real quick, just that part right there, it's like, that's a 21st century skill. Yeah. People need to know how to look at information and say, this is right, this is wrong, this kind of makes sense, this doesn't make sense. And so many people do not have the ability to do that, today.
Yeah, so I'll say this. So now we taught them how to explain. So they helped me explain. So now I'm like, all right, the last E is exhibit. So we want kids to exhibit. There's a skill that we do not teach in a lot of schools, is the ability for kids to speak and the ability for them to present on their learning. That's why I was big on presentations of learning. Yeah, you can turn in everything, all that great, but there's 3 levels of intelligence. You have analytical intelligence, right? You have that, you just know, and that's typically the traditional education. That's IQ, analytical intelligence. Then you have like this creative intelligence, right? The ability for you to misuse things off of your creative thought. Like, most innovation comes from the misuse of things, right? Like, gold wasn't created to make chains, right? Somebody thought about it and said, this will look great around my neck. The misuse becomes a staple. And then the last, right, is fluid intelligence, the ability for you to put all those things together. Have you ever met a creative person that just didn't know how to put it together, right? Then you met an analytical person who really wasn't that creative. They were just super rigid. A fluid intelligence is the ability for you to create and put those things together to create, right? So I would say this, now exhibit is create a prompt. Create a prompt in which Tone AI can highlight highlight from above, right? Boom. Here it goes. It gives me this, right? So I would just say this. I would copy this, right? And this is, I'm introducing another AI tool, Tone. Do that. Then you go to Tone. I already have it logged in, create a login, and kids can do this. It's totally free. It is using the power of GPT, and we will copy it here. And instead of paragraph, I would say, write a presentation in Spanish, explaining your love, explaining, and I can say my love for boom, and I just hit enter, right?
And just while it's doing it again, you could so many other pieces. The kid, and you can help them to understand. Maybe the first time they do it, they won't, but the second, third, fourth time, you're like, it's do you like to dance with your grandmother? Oh yeah, I like to dance with my grandmother. Have them add that in there. When was the last time that what song do you like to dance to? Oh, let me put that in there as well. It starts to find a picture of your grandmother. It starts to take the song that you want, and now it's presenting more of what's inside that person based on the prompts and questions that they're coming up with. So I love the model that you explained. I hadn't thought about it in that way. I'm gonna actually start to think about it from that perspective, because that's even gonna help. Right now, I feel like my learning related to all of this is like, oh my goodness, it's all over the place. But you're giving me a way to put it in a structured manner that's going to help a lot.
Yeah, and that's really essentially why I'm getting on and having conversations with educators, is because I look at it and I explain this all the time, is that, I'm not a great, I can't build a house, right? I don't know how to build a house. Like, but you can give me the tools, right? Like, let's say you was in construction, right? You licensed contractor, you know how to build a house, right? You like, hey, I get my wood, I get my materials. You can give me all the materials needed to build the house and give me the instructions. I will probably still struggle building a house. More or less, I don't even want to do it, right? That ain't my calling, right?
Right.
But the key is, how many people have toolboxes in their house but don't never lift up a tool, right? We don't want, like, the question is, if you were presented the smartest person in the world, was your best friend, like that, what would that conversation be about? How would you leverage it to bring more good into the world? How would you leverage it to help others? But if you don't know how to leverage it, you never leverage it, and you disown it and you discharge it. We want to be able to give you something that's practical. And that's why I developed those 4 E's of exploration, engagement, explanation, and then exhibit, right? Exhibitions. So you do that, right? And I mean, I can go on and on around other AI tools where then now you can, like, I'm actually, between you and I, well, actually the world knows, is that I create a course using AI to teach others how to use AI. So I went and I plugged the script from ChatGPT.
You be in my head, man. You be in my head. Like I started to work with one of the tools to take, and this is that emergence, man. I started to do the exact same thing, but I'm talking to it, like, back and forth.
Yeah, and listen, it goes right here.
Welcome to the ChatGPT in Education course review for Chapter 2. In this chapter, we focused on the importance of personalizing communication with ChatGPT in education.
Boom, right? Like that you wouldn't, like, yes, and the AI is going to develop and get better and better and better. The point I think we're trying to make is that we're going to continue conversations like this. We're going to continue to break down the barriers of the digital equity gap that exists, and try to bridge those gaps through teaching and developing design thinking around how to implement these type of technological advances so we can be more effective and more efficient. Like, I can be a better leader if we both start a school and I use these tools efficiently and you did traditional, our students are going to be more effective in the modern society, in the digital world, than your students. Now you have
And
those.
it's not going to take long for people to tell. It's not going to take long before your students want to come to my school.
And that's a fact. That's a fact. And then, but you know what? I did say this because we are coming close to the end, and I want to fulfill promises, right? I don't want to be that. I'm taking this new, podcast life seriously, y'all. So my new YouTube content, I'm taking it serious. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna open up a new chat, and then this is what I'm gonna do. We're gonna build $1 million, $1 billion company right now, and you're gonna be my case study. All right? You cool with that?
Let's do it.
All right, cool.
I'm definitely.
What's your passion? Like what problem in the world do you want to solve? What's your mission?
I want an education space that's responsive to everybody, that is designed to actually help us change our communities.
All right. So give me 5, and correct me, give me 5 startup tech companies. I'll put ed tech companies that could build school communities to be part of the digital transformation. Does that sound good?
It's a good start. Good start.
All right, tell me what else. I don't want to take words out.
No, I want to see what it says, and then it's every bit as important to be. It's not like where you start. The power in the tool is that interactivity that you have with it. Sometimes I'm like, nah, that's wrong. I need something else.
Yeah. So check this out. So I said that, right? And this is what I would say. I would say that we started that. They gave us different options, right? And even for me, I didn't say give me 5 edtech startup ideas that can be my new company. So I would say this: from above, give me 5 startup ideas for a edtech company I can start. Whatever, right? Boom. A virtual tutoring platform, right? A personalized learning platform that uses data and artificial intelligence to create customized lessons. An educational game platform that helps students learn and practice. A virtual field trip platform. A language learning platform. Which one connects to your emotion the best? What number?
The educational game platform.
All right. From above, that is number. From above, give me 5 names connected to number 3 for my company. All right, we got Game School, Learnify, EduPlay, Brain Games, Fun Learning. If not, we could say revise above and make it more urban. Urban Game School, City Learnify, Urban EduPlay, Street Brain Games, Urban Fun Learning. You could say,
and I mean, I love what you're doing here, because what people have to understand is, like, you don't have to use none of those names, but as you keep playing with it, it's supposed to create like spark in your own brain.
So let's say, for example, Urban Game School, right? Because you got to play. It's Urban Game School. So let's just say this: from above, create 5 taglines to go with number 1. Where learning meets fun in the city. Urban education gaming style. Bringing the city to the classroom. Education for modern urban learner. The ultimate intersection of Ooh, I like that. Number 5, the ultimate intersection of education and entertainment, right? I would say I like number 5, create a elevator pitch for my company I just leave it right there. Let's say.
And then next year, I mean, you can ask it for a business plan, and I bet it'll start you
Welcome
along
to
that
Urban
process.
Game School. Welcome to Urban Game School, the ultimate intersection of education and entertainment. Our platform uses engaging educational games to make learning fun for students of all ages. Whether you're a teacher looking for new ways to engage your students or a student seeking a more interactive, enjoyable learning experience, Urban Game School has something for you. With our focus on urban themes and real-world connections, we bring the city into the classroom in a way that's both meaningful and enjoyable. Try us out today and see the difference for yourself. Right? Cool. Now say, write a pitch deck. Now write a pitch deck, let's just say for pre-seed, $2 million for VCs. Now it's going to give me the information for the pitch deck. Problem. Describe the problem that Urban School is addressing. The need is giving me some stuff. I can play around with the nuance and say, go deeper on the problem, develop a problem for me. All right, cool. We got that. Watch this. Now we got our game. For my company, give me, nope, I'm gonna say for my company, provide 3 ways to gain revenue. Probably could have said it better, but here's our revenue model. Subscription model. We got in-app purchases. We got licensing. We can do school licensing. We got 3. Boom. We got our business model, right? We got our money. Now we say, write the app product description from above. But you got to see, you have to have prerequisite knowledge to know what to ask to get you that, right? So now we got that.
Right.
So we got the product description. And then now we're not developer, you're not developer, but I'm helping you build a $1 million company, right? So I would say provide the step-by-step plan to build the app so I can give it to my developer.
And while this one is going, the idea here is that you're doing this in 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Imagine, this may be something that a student needs to take an hour or more. This may be a week's worth of work for a student. But all along the way, they're learning, and if they're creating an app that is something that they're actually passionate about, they're going to learn these steps. They're going to dive deeper into these places. They're going to do some additional research. They're going to learn how to be entrepreneurs in conjunction with this companion tool.
Yeah. So now I'm saying, it gave me some stuff. I said, what is the best software language I can use to build the app? There are many different programming languages, but they're going to give me some suggestions. iOS platform, bada, bada, bada. Swift, they say languages to consider include Swift and Objective-C, right? So you say, and then it says some popular programming language to consider is this framework, JavaScript, right? Provide me with I'm just gonna say this. Select a program language and provide sample code for the app.
This is the part that blew my mind, and I'm thinking about one of my good friends who's a coder. He's from here, but he lives out in Chi now, and we're due for a call because he understands this part. Like, I don't understand coding enough to know what any of this stuff is Spanish to me, but I want to work with him to say, all right, how can we put some of this stuff in place so that we can take a new skin and pull, from something like ChatGPT or ChatGPT and other language models to start to create some of the stuff that we've already alluded to.
Yeah. And so absolutely. So you just see here, we just got the code. We got Urban Game School that we got the code for that you could say, look, and then you say, I don't know if that gonna be from above. Could this be my MVP for my company? And MVP is minimal viable product, right? Minimal viable product. It's
You could
very
also,
basic, and it's unlikely to
as
be a
this
viable
goes on,
product. So it's not a viable product. So you will then say, well, create code that I ain't never did this. That could be a MVP. My son about to go.
you showing me stuff right now. Like this, it feels like you going further than I have with it with any of them.
Now we got. Here's the code for demonstrates Apostle MVP for Urban Game School app written in Java.
I'm bringing this to my homeboy. I want to see if he can, like, because I feel like it has to be more code than that, though. No,
this is an MVP. Like most likely, if I'm
right.
more likely, it's just going to be able to get them right here. It says this code creates activity class called main activity, which is the main entry point for the app. The on create method is called when the activity is first created, and it sets the content view. This is minimum viable. This is just to get user on and get a basic experience. Definitely be more code than it, but this is just, and it's probably definitely more code than this, but it's just giving you a glimpse of the possibilities. Here to say, if you don't have the code, you got the concept of a company. So anybody that gonna take that, we want 1% equity in the business. Congratulations, we just developed you $1 billion company. Thank us later, right? So let me stop this, man. Yo, bro, tell people I know I gotta have an abrupt ending, man. You know, we out here, you on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast, but let the people tell the people where they can find you, why they should find you, and the mission that you on.
Yeah, man. Just come to Black on Black Ed on Instagram or Black on Black Education on the web. My daughter and I started this company. It's a nonprofit. Our focus is student-centered approaches to education and allowing students to be at the center of creating a future of education. So it's working with tools like this, showing them tools like this, asking them questions on what it is that they want, what it is that they want for their communities, what it is that they want for school, and then providing them with the resources to make sure that we start to move in that direction. So anybody who's any of that resonates with, holla, be happy to talk. Big shout to Principal Rahh, man. This has been incredible. I think this needs to be an OSG takeover, one of these days.
That's a fact, man. Hey, for those who are new to the page, man, thank y'all for tuning in. If you're seeing this on the replay, make sure y'all subscribe. This is where education meets emerging technologies, and culturally conscious leaders are at the forefront of it. I like to believe that being someone in the space, we connect really culturally relevant pedagogy, socially conscious leaders, humane-oriented leaders to the emerging world of technology. Join the movement. I'm also the founder of K-12 Crypto. You can go to the K-12 Crypto page, dive into that so you can learn more about how our platform are allowing kids and teachers to actually earn crypto and other digital assets for learning how to use this tech, for being introduced to this tech, to explore with this tech, and to be part of the digital transformation and digital revolution. So tap in with the culture. We are the culture, and we're transforming the culture. Be revolutionary, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in.
Peace.